Okay, these are the significant figure notes. Okay, so what are sig figs? They are used to measure the degree of confidence of a measurement. So they're going to include all digits that are known. All right, plus one last digit that is going to be estimated. All right, this means that you will be recording all the known measurements plus one last digit that is estimated. All right, and if you have your Mr. Disco chart, we're going to use the back side of this, so make sure you have that with you. Okay, so let's look at this measurement. So here's a ruler, 10, 11, 12. So what do we know for sure about this object? That it is known to be 11, okay, 11 centimeters, there's centimeters, 11 centimeters. And then what else do we know? So if this is 11 and 12, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's somewhere between 6 and 7. So what do we know? We know for sure that it is 11.6. What we don't know is this last digit here because it's in between the 6 and 7. So that's the one we're going to estimate. So we're going to estimate the 5. So the last digit, if I could spell digit, is estimated. Okay, so it's just a guess. All right, so when you're doing measurements, write down all the known digits and then a last estimated digit. Okay, so we're going to use the back of this to look at Sig Fig rules. All right, so basically it's do the zeros count or not. Okay, so we're trying to figure out if the zeros count or not. So all non-zero digits count. Okay, so like here, no zeros. All these numbers are significant. So here, there are 3 significant figures. Here, again, no zeros, 4 significant figures. All right. Here, we don't have a decimal, so I'm going to look at this. Is there a decimal, yes or no? Because this contains a 0, so I'm trying to figure out, does a 0 count or not? So is there a decimal? No. So we're going to count right to left, starting with the first non-zero number. So I'm going to count this way. All right, so I'm going to count significant, significant, significant. So 3 sig figs. All right, here again, I'm going to count right to left. So there are 4 significant figures. So this tells me that zeros in between 2 non-zero numbers are significant. All right, let's look at zeros in the front. These are called leading zeros. Let's figure out if these count or not. So is there a decimal? Yes, there's a decimal. So we're going to count left to right and start with the first non-zero number. So we're going to count going this way, but we don't start counting to where? The first non-zero number. So these leading zeros are not significant, but these numbers are. So there are 3 sig figs there. All right, let's look at some numbers that have not only leading zeros, but what we call trailing zeros as well. So we're going to use these same rules. All right, is there a decimal? Yes, so we're going to count left to right, starting at the first non-zero number. So we're going to go left to right, and we start counting at the first non-zero number. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 sig figs. So these zeros don't count, but these do. All right, here's another one. It has a decimal, so we're going to count left to right, and we're going to start at the first non-zero number. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sig figs. So these zeros count. So trailing zeros count, leading zeros don't. Again, just use your 2 rules. All right, when you've got a value written in scientific notation, all we're going to do is we're going to ignore this part and we're only going to look at what we call the mantissa. Okay, is there a decimal? Yes. So we're going to count left to right, starting at the first non-zero number. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sig figs. Again, is there a decimal? Yes. Count left to right, 1, 2, 3 sig figs. Okay, so again, all of these rules up here can just be shrunk down to these two rules. Is there a decimal? Yes or no. So let's look at some of these right here where there's not a decimal. That's when it gets confusing. So I'm going to look at number 2 right here. Number 2 says there's no decimal. So if there's no decimal, I'm counting right to left. But I don't start counting to where? The first non-zero number. So the only significant figures are the 1 and the 2. So there are 2 sig figs there. All right. So those are the exception. Anytime there's a decimal, you're always counting left to right. So I want you to try and complete all these, and then I will check them for you if you need me to. All right. Let me know if you have any questions.